Greetings. Welcome back to another supporter stream over here on Switch to Linux. I'm going to move on over to these guys, have these guys say hi. I need to go fix a window blind. I'll be right back. So say hi, guys. You guys have the show.
Hello, everybody.
Hello. Another week, another stream.
So we were just talking, guys. Should Linus actually have published that that clip where he installed Pop OS and pushed it out, deleting his desktop, or should he have waited and figured out what was really wrong? Because
I think
it was the distro's fault.
Yeah, my thought is that he should have published it because the main point of this was what happens when two people who are not using Linux as their daily driver. What happens when they switch over and the main use case is to game? What happens when they know nothing?
I'm going to refute that. I'm going to refute that because if you're using Pop OS and you're trying to install Steam, as a new person with no experience, you don't even know to go to the terminal. And even if you do, you should know enough. A basic imbecile should know enough to not type in a very specific phrase when the system says, do not do this unless you know exactly what you're doing.
Right.
That's kind of my point on there. And, you know,
yeah,
anyway, before we get into that a lot, just a couple housekeeping things. Hopefully the stream will go okay here. I actually had to move campsites because the one I was planning on staying at, had like a 0.65 upload. So I came over here and I jumped onto a secondary server just to make sure. It looks like we're actually going to be good. I actually have a lot more upload than I have download. I have like 28 up here and I have like 3 down. So if we have problems, it's going to be me watching. I know it is. I've seen that before a few times, but we should be really good where I am. The only thing that will stand in our way here is my campsite appears to have a lot of prairie dogs, and out in the west, they are actually infected with plague. So if I become a plague running zombie, that's probably why. It was just the prairie dogs. And just prior to closing my back door about a minute ago, the coyotes were starting to howl around as well. And so I could get eaten by coyotes. I could get the bubonic plague. I don't know, but this is the part of the fun adventure.
Yeah, did this remind me of something? I've been
this is what
IRC user
experience.
This reminds me of something that happened to someone. I don't remember who now, but it was one in Norway. I have been an IRC user for 22 years, 23 years now. And one of them told, I think this is 15 years ago, long before streaming was a thing, and when DSL was the main way of having a high bandwidth. The ISP made an error when they were installing the DSL equipment. So they have switched around the equipment that was mounted in his house versus what is mounted in the local central, so that he had a much higher up limit than down limit. And he was absolutely fine with that because he was planning to use it to host a web server anyway.
Nice. All right. Let's have a look at our comments before we dive on into our topic. And for the guy that sent a message, get right to the topic. No. The reason we don't get right to the topic is because you guys that are actually regular channel followers kind of like the bantering back and forth on the supporter stream. So, we'll get to the topic. Maybe what we should do is I should go in afterwards and put a timestamp in. That would be a thing.
Your clickbait's too good.
No, my clickbait's too bad, actually. I was told that recently, too. I'm getting a lot of fun comments. I don't know. Anyway, let's jump on over, have a brief look at comments. Again, if you guys see comments you'd like to.
If you look at this, it says Edge integrates zip. Your first thing that comes to mind is a zip file.
I know, right? We'll get into this because that's fun, but that's our topic. I want to look at our comments first.
Yeah.
All right.
One of the comments, one of them, Glosek or whatever he pronounces his username. He commented that my GNU hat is nice. And for those who doesn't know, I'm a free software advocate. So I agree with the Free Software Foundation and Richard Stallman's definition of what kind of software you should use.
Mm-hmm.
Even if I doesn't always follow it myself, I do not use any closed source drivers. So this means that sometimes I have hardware that I can't use, mainly wireless network cards, but I don't use wireless networks, so I'm fine. So yeah.
Okay, we have to ask you, Salbu, this one. Should U.S. English be banned?
Ja, det är absolut. Helt enig.
What? All right. Dan, what do you think? Should U.S. English be banned?
I don't think so. I think it's the most understood language around the globe.
Well, I mean, English but U.S. English specifically. I don't know.
Well,
do they teach U.S. English or
there's variance between the UK people. They have different names for things that we name differently, and that's mostly the case around the globe. Is they just naming of items.
This is a good one. Do you think Mint will drop Ubuntu distros to focus on LMDE eventually? I think if Ubuntu keeps on moving in the direction it's moving, I think it is a distinct possibility, because that's what LMDE is for if there is a reason they have to abandon Ubuntu, they don't have to start from scratch.
I used it for a year.
Mm-hmm. What was your
better
thoughts?
Part of a year, and my experience with LMDE is, it's not much different than the Ubuntu type build. You get everything pretty much with it that you normally get with normal Mint. I mean, you get the Cinnamon desktop and all its little tools and everything with it. You have to kind of get a little bit used to the Debian way of using their source files and stuff like that to add repositories and stuff like that. But other than that, I had a great time with it. I would even let a new Linux user use it, because it's incredibly hard to destroy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Linux Mint is always good at that. Jeffrey is apparently, he says he's on Windows 10 and Chrome. What is wrong with you, sir?
Oh man.
It's okay. Windows 11 is fake. All right. All right. We got a little bit more there. Thanks to Windows 11, Linux desktop will take some market share, probably. Yogi Man's gonna have some Switch links, hot tea and crumpet. I don't have any crumpets. I had some donuts beforehand, but I have some French vanilla tea.
Yeah, I have some black coffee.
Ooh. Yeah, I already had a couple cups of coffee today, so I'm going with tea. Moonbase Alpha Grace, greetings. How are you? Credit is a management tool. Fire all managers. Return to cash only. I thought SteamOS was going to cause Linux to take the market. No, there were some issues with SteamOS, but hopefully they're fixing it with Steam Deck eventually.
Well, this is stuff that I've been noticing, because I am a gamer, is with Steam, what they're putting into the Steam Deck, they're also porting down to the Steam client as Proton Experimental.
Mm-hmm.
And more of more desirable games are becoming online and playable with no tweaks. I just got Horizon Zero Dawn. It runs on Steam just great on Linux.
Yeah. What is a Linux game that would be similar to Black Ops? A game that will run on Linux without having to fight too much. That's going to be similar to Black Ops. Anybody know?
I don't know. I don't have a game.
I have to Google Black Ops because
I have Cyberpunk
2077.
That's
the game
great.
I used to play with my friend a lot, and we were looking for a way we can do a game similar to that. But I mean, we might be able to get Black Ops 2 running on Linux and give it a try. But I don't know. Priorities have not allowed me to tinker with it.
Is it one of them games that has anti-cheat stuff built in?
I think the later ones do. Some people on Wine says Black Ops 2 works. Some of them say it doesn't. And
you might want to check Proton BD. That's the database for games that work with Steam.
Proton BD or Proton DB?
Proton.
DB sounds better because that's database.
Yeah, database. Proton DB for database.
Okay. I will.
Now they used to rate their stuff in gold and silver and bronze, platinum, and native. When you're looking at gold and stuff like that and games, I noticed that that's the old way of doing things. Look for the latest installs because they fixed those, but they just haven't upgraded it like from gold to platinum or something like that. You'll just see people that have posted that have had success for the last 6 months or less, because they're constantly improving the Proton version.
All right, I think we hit the bottom of the comments here. So shall we dive on into our topic, and then we can go back and talk some Linus if we want at the end of the show again.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, that video's deeply controversial. It's like, it's got like a 60% downvote for me. But hey, that's okay. Downvotes are fine. I'll take the controversy. I wish I could still gladly display them, but the 2B masters have decided that they're not. I love their rationale. They're like, we're going to disable this so the creators don't feel bad. What do you mean so we don't feel bad? I can still see it on the back end. It's just you people up front can't tell how bad Brandon is at his press releases.
Yeah, you're making making us feel bad because now you can't share the sad feelings of having lots of downvotes with the viewers.
I know. I can't get solidarity with my friends watch my videos. Like, I haven't gotten any more of those. I'm so sorry you're getting so many downloads on that last video emails because my friends just can't see that anymore. It's going to make me go off and just off myself in the corner of the woods over here somewhere. I mean, really, come on, YouTube, bring back those negative comments. I don't know.
Yeah, you know what? The dislikes, it doesn't give me a number anymore. If it's somebody I know, I will give them a like, but anybody else on YouTube, I will not use the dislike or like button no more.
I do if they keep on auto feeding me garbage that I don't want to see. I'll just dislike it, close it, and then say never show me this stuff again, just for the fun of it. But yeah, anyway. There is an extension, return YouTube dislike. There is an extension for that.
But they are using YouTube API, which will be discontinued on the 13th.
No, of course it will, because how dare anybody see how bad Brandon is at press conferences?
YouTube is just a wreck. It no longer tells me videos that I've watched already. They used to put a red line underneath them.
I still get that.
They haven't done that for me in over a month anymore. So now it's suggesting videos I've already watched and stuff like that. It's really
we can get back to the YouTube craziness too at the end if we want. Well, we'll decide. Do we want to continue to talk YouTube crazy, or do we want to talk about Linus crazy? But let's get into our topic first. So Edge integrates zip is what I have at the bottom of the screen here. No, that's not a zip file. That is a zip buy now, pay later app that is being force integrated and automatically enabled. And Microsoft, when using Edge, will now take over any shopping cart you are on and give you the option to sign up for zip. All right. You guys have any initial thoughts before I show the article here?
I don't like the sound of this.
Yeah, I don't either. It's kind of really scary because they say that you can give basically from what I've read here, you basically give Microsoft your credit card number. They pay for your purchase, but you get to pay in 4 installments of 4 months apart.
Yeah, $1 extra a piece, so it costs $4 extra, which shouldn't break the bank, but did you catch the part? Well, we'll get to that in a moment. But I know, Salbu, you're definitely using Edge on Linux, right?
Oh, yeah.
Thought so. I mean, me too. Like everything. Edge is just so amazing at the annoyances, the constant pop-ups, and the adding new stuff. I'm just using it as my daily driver. Hashtag not really.
Yeah, I haven't used a Microsoft the browser since January 28th on 2008.
And honestly, with it being based on Chromium, there's really no reason to even install it for testing, because as long as something works in any Chromium-based browser, it should work in every Chromium-based browser.
Yeah.
I haven't seen any exceptions to that yet, so I'm just going to continue not using the Edge browser. So let's go ahead and have a look at the article. And I grabbed the one, I think Ars Technica actually broke this, but I'm going to use the one for TechSpot because it actually had some screenshots and a little bit more of the stuff that Ars Technica
it's an easier read too.
Got rid of. Yeah, and TechSpot's easy to read. And unfortunately, this was one of my Sillyville articles for tomorrow, so we're going to take this out, and hopefully I can find a few more Sillyville articles. I'll go over to Not the Bee or something if I don't have enough for the news. But we will be on the news tomorrow, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Which will be whatever time zone I'm in right now. I keep the computers on Eastern time zone so I can keep track of what's going on.
This is Microsoft's attempt to contribute to the cashless society.
Yeah, and they're pushing a lot of things on people that are irritating. Of course, we talked about last week. Now they got everybody addicted to OneDrive. They're ripping it out of some of the old builds so that it forces you to upgrade if you're now reliant on them. It's like the crack dealer. He gives you the free taste to get you addicted and now just moves you the way he wants. That's what Microsoft is doing. So be careful of the free stuff. Anyway, here's the hot potato, which is basically the summary. Microsoft works wonders in an effort to turn around Edge's ailing fortunes in recent times, but users are far from happy about the latest feature. Integration with buy now, pay later app called Zip, formerly called QuadPay. So this is one of these things where you give it your credit card information, you sign up with their account, and then any participating merchant between $35 and $1,000 you can pay in 4 installments. I mean, it's like I think I was selling a car at one point in time, and I let my mother's husband handle the stuff because I was busy with so many other things. And the kid comes up. It's like we're selling the car for $250. Kid comes up and asks if he can make payments. He's like, payments on $250? Get out of here, kid. Payments on $235, man.
Yeah. I did that to
can't
my brother
afford
once.
$8 a month.
Yeah, my brother did that too. My brother did that to me once. I had a car, and I had to fix something in order to get it roadworthy, but I didn't have the money. So he bought it for the scrap fee, and we agreed that he was going to pay in 2 terms, and he paid once and not the other. This is 25 years or so ago.
Oh boy. Anyway, all right, so they announced plans to build the Zip app directly into the Edge browser itself. So you can turn it off, to my understanding, but it's automatically turned on, and when you upgrade Edge, it automatically embeds itself. The short-term finance service gives users the option to sign up on checkout pages when they enter their credit card number. It also appears as a prompt on a web page in some cases. So here we have when you enter the card number, you'll get this pop-up here. Available payment methods, buy now, pay later with Zip. There's the learn more, and then there's the manage payment info. Because of course, like many browsers, Edge will remember all your credit card information too, which you should not let it do. So Zip appears when Edge detects you're about to buy something priced between $35 and $1,000. There's no upfront payments, and it's all interest-free. You make 4 payments over 6 weeks, and Zip charges $1 per payment, adding $4 to the total cost. That's a good deal when paying $1,000. It's an extra 11% when buying something for $35. Initial thoughts on that, gentlemen?
Yeah, I wouldn't have any problem with this if this was a feature that was turned off by default, which you had to enable if you wanted to use it.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And what happens if somebody else uses your account and without you knowing about it? 3 weeks go by, you get your statement, and all this stuff was purchased with the Microsoft Zip. How do you explain this to your bank, and how do you get a charge back and get your money back?
That raises one of the concerns, the concern that's addressed here. But yeah, that's very similar to all of the people who hand their iPad to their kids and then they look down and have a $7,000 add-on purchase. So I think ultimately we'll see somebody abuse it. We'll see a family member abuse it first. And then,
Mommy, look at the new pony in the front yard.
Yeah, and then it only costs us 4 equal payments of $1,000. You know, then what happens then is they'll get a little bit of pushback because this is what happened with iTunes and stuff. There's extra verification now. They're going to have to put extra verification in it. But the secondary issue people are concerned about is with how much information people have is criminals buying something on Zip, not making all the payments, and then it doesn't come back to you for over a month or so later, which may exceed the time that it would take you to dispute something on a credit card.
Now here, looking at this article, if you go down a little bit where it says quick and easy checkout, autofill details, it's got ship to address, One Microsoft Way, Redmond, Washington, United States. Yep. They're going to ship your goods to Microsoft instead of you?
No. This is the example, the screenshot from Microsoft. So if you have an address inside of your browser, it's going to show you all of the options that you have. So no, it's not shipping your stuff to Microsoft. But it will give you, this though gets into the next part I wanted to get to, is that Microsoft will have a connection. In fact, it's the next paragraph under the tweet. We'll read the tweet. It's deeply shocking. This is built into the base Windows OS on billions of devices. I feel like I should start a GoFundMe for Microsoft or teach them how to beg bounty as clearly as they need the money. Very good.
Right.
But the next paragraph, Edge users have the option of selecting Zip as the default payment method and can link their Microsoft accounts to the loan company to speed up the application process. Microsoft writes on its support page that any merchants, listen to this, any merchants who do not wish to use the service will have to contact Redmond firm to opt out. So if you have a web form on your private little website like I do on my Christian bookstore, okay, and you're using this, they'll be like, hey, if you don't want this, you have to contact Microsoft and tell them. Are you trying to get a class action lawsuit?
You know, and how long will that last before they do an update somewhere and your information goes poof?
Yeah, well, I mean,
and you're no longer opted out.
That's a valid point. But I want to get into this. Talk about the fraud from the small store purchasers. So I sell a series of books on my Christian bookstore, which is ourwalkinchrist.com if you're interested in the Christian books. And if I see a Zip payment go through that, okay, you've just ordered, $50 worth of books from me, and I'm seeing a payment for, $11, I'm not shipping $50 in books to somebody who's paying me $11. I didn't agree to use Zip.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not shipping $50 in books to somebody who's only paid me $11 for $50 in books. Zip's word is not good enough for me because it's too easy to abuse, too easy to exploit.
Well, besides this being in a web browser, the web browser is actually the bad part. In Microsoft's defense, PayPal kind of does the same thing. They take your credit card number and you use PayPal, they charge your number to purchase something.
Mm-hmm.
But what Microsoft has done is took that one step further and built it into the browser.
Yeah, well, it's one thing if I accept PayPal, but and that would be my choice. But if I don't want to accept a Zip payment because I think that it's too ripe for abuse,
but
Microsoft is telling me that I can opt out of Edge pushing this crap on people that most people don't even know has happened by me contacting Microsoft. No, I'm not contacting Microsoft. In fact, let's go ahead and follow this link. Let's see what this happens to say. Buy now, pay later.
You got to admit, every week with everything like something like this coming out weekly now, everybody's inclined to keep us as dazed and confused as possible.
Mm-hmm. All right, so Microsoft is dedicated to making Microsoft Edge the best browser for shopping. Oh, by the way, they have coupon pop-ups too. Features like coupon, price comparison, price history, and ratings and reviews. Microsoft Edge helps shoppers be confident in their purchase and their purchase price. Buy now, pay later is a short-term financing option offered at checkout that allows consumers to break the payments up into installments provided by Zip, a third-party loan servicer. Browser performance is always top of the mind. We continue to deliver on our commitment to make Microsoft Edge faster, leaner, and more efficient than ever before. And then there's a few notes here. Let's see. Microsoft is not involved in this. Currently only available in the United States to shoppers logged into their Microsoft account. through January 31st, Zip is offering free trial periods for users purchasing through the Microsoft Edge browser. After the free offer period, Zip will offer one free transaction to every new user that signs up or logs in for the first time during a checkout with Microsoft.
And let's remind everybody, when you get this with Edge in it, Edge is at most very difficult, or at least to actually remove from your Windows installation. When you tear it out, it puts it back in.
Yeah. So here's their FAQ. I'm a merchant. I don't want my site to have this option. Is there a way to opt out? Yes. Please contact Microsoft support to opt out. That's exciting. So Microsoft is giving your user data to them to speed up the process. Of course, you have to click on the button, of course. They're forcing this on merchants who do not want the option, which I'm wondering how that's going to look. I mean, on my shopping cart, how's that going to look? Am I going to get a partial payment with an email that says, hey, we're going to pay you even more? Or, hey, this is Zip. This guy made this. Hey, isn't this wonderful? You should offer this. No. Yeah. Reject.
And this brings me to what I find most troubling with this new thing, and it's the name. They are conflating the purchasing app with
the name is
30-year-old with a 30-year-old compression format that everyone uses.
Yeah.
And before you, I didn't open the link before we started this thing. So my initial reaction was, so they are implementing zip files into the browser. What's problematic with that? I'm pretty sure that. One of the developers' reasons for choosing the name is that it will go under the many people's radar because they are calling it zip.
That's a possibility.
I'm thinking, given Microsoft a year or two, they will start a store like Amazon, and this is the setup for it. Zip will be the store, meaning zip means it gets zipped to your house if you buy it from Microsoft.
Well, I mean, I'm not sure I see that because Zip is a third party.
I'm seeing that it's not impossible.
Yeah, sure. I mean, they could buy it, particularly if it's struggling. But I know PayPal is trying to work on one of these methods as well, things like that. Anyway, Ars Technica, this was the original article, notes that the Zip integration has not been welcomed with open arm by everyone's. Quote, I don't want it. I don't even want shopping and discovery features y'all have pushed out. Y'all, he must have been from down south. Hey, y'all. Right. Y'all, hey, y'all, Microsoft, I'm going to kick you off the porch with my broom, y'all. These kinds of things should be separated into extensions, right? One user, please stop turning all these things on by default, or at least give an option for a core experience that's basic browsing features plus the security enhancements. As it stands right now, I spend 5 or 6 minutes making sure all the extra crap is disabled whenever I set up Edge on a new computer or move between channels. Another reviewer wrote, you're starting to overdo the third-party integrations and services. This is just sleazy. Edge is on the verge of feeling dirty to use. Ew, yeah. I mean, pretty soon it's going to be like feeling like Google Chrome or something. So here it gets us down to the screens we looked at earlier. It's going to autofill your shipping information, autofill your payment details. You can choose this card or you can choose buy now, pay later with Zip. 4 interest-free payments estimated to be $37.94. Yeah. So Microsoft, a company worth over $2 trillion, said it, quote, does not collect a fee for connecting users to the loan provider, but refused to say if they've received other forms of remuneration from the loan company. Of course. No, we're not getting money. We're just getting tons of stock. You know?
I like the first sentence in the article, which is just above the first image, where the article writer says, Microsoft keeps undoing all the good work it's put into Edge.
Yes, it does indeed. It does indeed. In addition, what appears to be greediness on Microsoft's part, the fact that this is adding more bloatware to Edge, there is also security concerns around Zip's addition. Moreover, it has the potential to land some people in financial difficulties, which is valid. Microsoft made Edge a much more appealing prospect when it officially moved to a Chromium-based version last year, but nagging Bing alerts and third-party integrations haven't helped its cause. Microsoft also made switching to an alternative browser in Windows 11 more difficult and blocked a tool that redirects Edge links in its later OS. We talked about those, of course, last week. So everything Microsoft is doing right now, they're just getting sleazier and sleazier and sleazier in all of the integrations. That's, okay, I want to use Firefox. I want to use Brave. I want to use some of the browser. Microsoft's like, no, you're not. Every attempt you're doing, I'm going to
I can't let you do that, Dave.
That's right. No, Dave.
So, I mean, that's why I use LibreWolf, because it's extremely hardened, and you throw uBlock Origin and Privacy Badger behind it. Mm-hmm. You're not going to access a quarter of the internet. It's going to tell you that links are not secure and all kinds of weird stuff.
Absolutely. Yeah. All right. Let's jump down over into comments again.
Yeah, and I have a suggestion for DT if he's watching. I see him in the comments from time to time. He recently made a video about where he was one of the astronauts in the 1980 in the 2001 movie. He made a small 2-minute long movie. He should do that with this browser forcing itself on users, or the Microsoft various tricks to force you to use their products. It would be fun to see.
Yeah,
it would. Yeah.
Let's see. Rick is on for the Great White North. Greetings, Rick. Linux should stick to Windows and leave Linux people who actually care about it, or know about it. I don't know.
I disagree with that.
You can learn about it for sure, but if you don't know something, unless you're up front saying, "Hey, I don't know anything about it, but let's see what we can do." And maybe he did. I mean, he did do that a little bit. Saying I've used it a little bit, but never really tried to do that. But
yeah, and one of the conditions that they both agreed on was that they couldn't ask anyone for help. And the whole point was that if they really were a new user, how would they go about it? And they were imagining how a regular user would go about it.
But a regular user wouldn't go to a basic search engine anymore. A regular user would go to YouTube. Type in Linux on YouTube. You're going to get a ton of really good channels that's going to walk you through some steps. That's a whole lot more than a Tom's Hardware article on best Linux distributions.
Yeah, and the only thing that I would do differently is the search term that you used, the best Linux. If you ask people which distribution and version is the best for a new user, you would get as many answers as you asked.
Correct. That's why you need to ask the question in a way to have a little bit of interaction to say, all right, what is it you're trying to do to figure out what is the best Linux distribution? Because what's best for me may not be best for you, depending on a variety of different things. Like, I don't play games. I don't care about games. I'm not looking for a Linux distribution that's going to be good with games. I want something that doesn't update itself a whole lot. When it doesn't change around my crap,
Yeah. And that's one of the in the last 2-hour videos. They have made some shorter clips after that. But in the next release, the number 3 in the series, they are going to go about it as a regular user who is not gaming, but you're using the system for everyday tasks, such as office work and browsing and so on, and do that for a week. And I think that will be a lot better. And Linus says that if he weren't an avid gamer, which he is, he see no reason that he should stay on Windows, because Linux is often easier, and much of the problems he has had is the fact that he's trying to run commercial games on it.
Yeah.
And I think it is a good thing that he and he pointed in both for and against using the terminal versus the GUI, because as a power Windows user like himself, I imagine I think he uses the command line and PowerShell quite easily. So using a Linux terminal is not as far-fetched as some people will have it.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah. So that raises another point, that we are coming to things with different level of experiences. Even if we are brand new at Linux, we may be brand new at Linux, but have a lot more computer knowledge. Like when I came to Linux, I mean, I was brand new to Linux, knew virtually nothing about it, but I was a very, very knowledgeable computer guy otherwise. You know, I mean, I can do some pretty weird advanced stuff with Windows. Still can. I just can't stand it anymore. But so my approach to using Linux is a lot different than somebody who is a complete computer novice.
Yeah.
Let's see. Edge, is it that Chrome with added Microsoft evilness? Yes, it is Chrome with added Microsoft evilness. First, save money up front. I remember payments gives me anxiety. Yeah. Okay, so GNU hat guy is Salvu or Salvo? Salbu. Or if you want to pronounce it better for us, go for it.
Solbu is the native sounding, but yeah.
Okay.
Solbu is fine.
I'm from Pennsylvania. I say Salbu just like I say Kathy.
I try to get it right, Salbu.
Yeah.
Apparently Zip is a new name for PayPal. No, it's a new. So when there was a whatever it is, the Zip came out, PayPal actually wanted to jump into that space as well. I'm not sure if they have yet or not, but is that ungoogled Edge? No. Firefox put me off with its politics. Yeah, LibreWolf though is good. It's Firefox without the crap, you know.
Oh, here's a story. Everybody's heard of the Green Dot credit card, right?
Yeah.
Well, they come out with something, I think it's called One Go or something like that, another credit card. They wanted me to actually get online and sign up for their new credit card, which actually has credit card capabilities, but they wanted me to transfer all the money I had in my Green Dot card to that card. And I didn't want another card like that. And I contacted them, and they said that they're doing away with the Green Dot card. It won't be available anymore. And they would send me my money in the mail.
Wow. So is there another option now for you or not?
I switched to my regular Visa card from PNC Bank. It's a regular credit card, but man, if I do anything, buy anything or try anything hokey pokey, it doesn't sound totally legit. Yeah. Like I bought some. They call me on the phone and ask me to authorize it stuff. Did you do this super chat? Press PNC? 1, press 2. Their automated system.
I don't know. I left PNC when they became so crazy that it's like literally every single time I'd walk into the bank, they like call me. I'm like, how was your experience? F you. That's how my experience was. I hang up on them and stuff. And then all of a sudden you used to be able to go into the bank, like deposit a check on ATM and immediately withdraw like $100 against the check, and they silently did away with that without telling anybody. So I go to the bank, I say, look, you guys did away with that silently without telling anybody. Well, we put it on our statements. No, you didn't. I read every one of the statements. Well, it's on our website. That's all we had to do is put it on our website. I said, but then why are you annoying me every single time? Well, this is for figuring out how good we are. I said, here's how good you are. Close all my accounts right now. Give me my money. I'm done with you.
Well, you know what? I've kind of gotten numb to that because everybody I do business with now wants a survey. Mm-hmm. Half of my emails that come in a week are surveys. I buy something on Amazon. They want me to review it. And then if I don't, they'll double down on me and ask me to do it again.
Well, if you buy something on Amazon and the seller is doing that, forward it to Amazon. The Amazon will shut them down. They're not allowed to do that.
Everything I buy from Amazon, they do that.
I do not have that problem.
I go to the doctor's office. They send me a receipt with a survey on the bottom. They want me to fill out a survey how I was treated at the doctor's office.
Well, if it's printed out on the receipt,
I go to the hospital for a procedure. They want me to grade them on the procedure. If I go anywhere except a grocery store, I gotta grade somebody on something.
I have had that happen to me only in the context of I have a support call to some company, and some of them, most do not in this country, but some they would send one text message asking to go to a link or replying to the text message with how the recent experience is, and if we don't answer it, that's all there is to it. So they don't nag us as they seem to do to you.
You know, on a flip note, when I bought my iPhone in 2017 and I bought it with a debit card, they did call me and ask me if I was purchasing that phone. And I told them yes, because if I would have said no, they wouldn't let it go through.
Yeah, I've had them call a couple times. Like PNC was weird though, because literally I was living in Wyoming. I'm visiting a friend of mine in California. I had a computer break, but we're leaving the next day. I call a company in Canada that will overnight the part to fix it, overnight it in the morning delivery. So I'm literally in California, ship an international part overnight to an address that's not my own. PNC didn't care. But they flagged my account for possible fraud when I used it at Walmart 2 miles from my house.
Right.
PNC
hold on.
I want to get to this comment. Gmail is going with a 2-step verification method. I don't want to use my phone on 9 different accounts. Do not give Gmail your phone. You don't have to do it. Okay, you can use a YubiKey, hardware keys, and there's other verification methods. So everybody should go on and buy yourself at least 2 YubiKeys. Use those for Google's 2-step verification and every other verification service that needs a hardware key. And that way you can plug them in anytime, and then somebody to get into your account would have to steal that physical key. Now, the reason you get 2 of them is you can have multiple keys on a single account. So I have 2 of the keys on the account. It's just a zip drive. You plug it in, tap the button, and you are 2-factor verified. I use 2 because if I lose 1 key, I have another key in my safe. So I won't get locked out of accounts. So do not give Google your phone number. They don't need your phone number for 2-factor. They just need another method, and the YubiKey is valid.
In Norway, the biggest ISP, one of the users in one of the channels that I hang out in said that today or yesterday, I don't remember when, he was asked by his on the website of his ISP. He wanted to view a recent invoice, and he was asked for a 3-factor authentication, the password for login, and a code sent to his phone, and a code sent to his email address. And one of the other commented, then what happens if you need to change your password?
Now, a lot of places that banks or whatever, if they don't know my computer or something like that, they will call me on the phone, and it's an automated lady actually talking over the phone with a number you're supposed to type in to let you in. And I think that's better than text messaging.
Yeah.
Yeah, texting is probably the least. What some companies are doing now, which is totally stupid, is in financial companies, they're like, well, you need to use your voice print verification. So when you call us, we'll get in there. Ever hear of a deep fake, you moron? It's very easy to simulate somebody's voice.
Or recording someone's voice.
Yeah. Zip being a credit card saying this is not Microsoft Edge by design. Yes, yeah. Microsoft, what are you doing now? And people wonder why I spend so much time petting the kitty. I know, right? Gotta pet the kitty cat. He's over there, like, looking at me. He's like, what? He's like sleeping on my sleeping bag. I haven't crammed it back down in the front of the door again. Keep it down there so he can't get in there. When I was moving a final load of stuff over to storage, I emptied out the trunk so the cats could come with me. I didn't want to put a bunch of stuff in the bed of the van and have the cats in there. So I emptied out all my stuff out of my garage, put that at my friend's house, and then I took all these boxes of stuff in the back of the garage and drove it there, and I drop it off. I go back to my friend's house, and I go in the van, like, where's the cat? Well, the cat had fallen down between the door and in the garage. So the cat's in there like, meow, let me out of here. I'm in prison. And so I fold up a sleeping bag and wrap it down there now, but I have to move it every time I put the window blinds up. So
poor kitty.
Yeah.
I saw in one of the Discord servers that I hang out in. They had someone had they have already put up the Christmas tree, but they have a few cats, so they have made of a wooden frame and metal fence around the tree in a big, as if the tree came in a big box, and they just took the packaging out and just left it. So a cat-proof Christmas tree.
Here's a thought that came to mind. Since Microsoft has this zip and people start using it, is Microsoft going to be able to tell who bought what?
Well, again, the Zip is not a Microsoft-owned company. They don't otherwise appear to be affiliated that we know of. It's just they're using this to force their product. It was probably some weird kickback thing that Zip gave to Microsoft become a dominant in the field, is my guess. But they're not owned by Microsoft. Now, what data are they sharing? I don't know.
Yeah, here's the problem: data sharing and what you buy and how much.
Well, here's the problem. The bigger problem is you're signed into a Microsoft account. You're using Edge, and Edge stores your addresses, and that's all syncing to the cloud. Yeah, of course they know what you're buying and where it's going because they're able to track that stuff on their site.
I never use anything logged in for anything other than if I want to buy something from a web store, I log into that specific store. And I don't have a. I use Firefox, but I don't have a Firefox account, sync account, which is encrypted. But still, I don't. And if I wanted something, I would put up on Nextcloud or something similar.
Here's another one from Rick. LibreWolf, how do you import passwords? You should not be using your browser to remember passwords anyway. What you should do in LibreWolf, and it should work, I haven't tested it, but it should work, is you should use KeePassXC, create your KeePass file in KeePassXC, and then use the Firefox browser extension for KeePassXC and let that manage the passwords for you. That's what you should do. And that way, if you switch over browsers, you can use the same KeePass file, and it's a lot more secure to do that than it is to use the web browser. Those who don't use Sync or Pocket, so beware. Definitely Pocket. Does Sync work? Dan, do you know if Sync works?
I don't use any of that highfalutin junk.
Yeah, I don't either. I think you can turn it on. By default, yeah, it's all disabled. But what if the merchant doesn't accept cash? Well, if you're talking about online ordering,
in my country, using cash is considered mandated currency. So if any of the two parties who want to exchange payment, if any side demands using cash, the other side has no choice but to accept using cash. Even the stores are not allowed to stop using cash because of recent events, let's say.
And that raises some issues here because as Rakuzan says, believe it or not, there's no law in America saying merchant has to accept cash. That's actually true. What is the law technically is supposed to be is that any government agency must accept cash. But right now they're not. They stopped. Of course, there's no law been changed or passed. It's just Brandon in chief decided so.
It's supposed to be legal tender.
Yeah, and that's the thing, because they want everything to go digital. So
it says so right on the money.
Mm-hmm. But oh well, yeah, the cashless dystopia is coming soon. No choice. That's right. Bartering system, guys. Get back to bartering system.
What can I get for 2 goats?
A bunch of milk.
Yeah.
Your local ATM asks for your Microsoft account details. You know the end is nigh. Please sign into Microsoft to access your money, you pleb. Colorado fixed all of our budget issues. Did they fix your budget issues?
And then what happens if, for some reason, you violated Microsoft policy and they shut down your Microsoft
I know,
accounts?
right? Yeah. Or basically Microsoft's policy shifts and you are no longer in compliance. That's more often than what will happen. Remember Wells Fargo creating accounts secretly? Yeah, they did that too. Their managers had quotas and they weren't reaching them, so the managers just started taking like loan applications and creating accounts, people's names. Even hospitals want surveys.
Yeah, that's what I was just saying earlier. I had to go to a hospital for a procedure. Next thing you know, they wanted to know how did it go. How that it's we don't have hospitals. We have medical systems now.
Yeah. Well. I mean, I went into the hospital because my finger hurt, and I left there castrated. So how do you think it went?
Yeah, I went there. My finger hurt. They cut it off. How do you think that turned out?
Okay, here's another one. My reviews. Walmart puts a survey on their receipt. I don't care if they put on a survey on the streets. Okay, now I travel around the country, of course. I've been into several Walmarts because it's a really good place. I can get my food and then get extra cash out and not have to pay any money to get cash out of my debit card. So I use Walmart. And so I go around all different places, and I refuse to use self-checkouts. Well, I went to a Walmart the other day that they're like, they have like 6 lanes. They're all closed. I'm like, is there a lane open? No, our lanes aren't open anymore. Our Walmart is like, lady, stop telling me that a remodeled Walmart doesn't open the lanes. Okay, this is the very first Walmart I've ever been to that does not mandate one lane be open. But, I wasn't going to fight with her that bad. But it's just like, because of course, if you go in those Walmart self-checkout lanes, this is Microsoft works with Walmart, and they have a lot of facial ID stuff in there. Yes, they have some of that in the store as well, but it's way more intensified at the self-checkouts. Go ahead, Dan.
If you have to do a self-checkout, I mean, what do you do if you get a grocery cart full of groceries? I mean, you got like 40 items in there.
I know, right? You're supposed
to. They won't allow it at our Myers here. It's 20 items or less, or you have to use a regular checkout.
Yeah, well, Walmart just wants to do with all that nonsense. But I wanted to tell this lady, hey, lady, you're full of crap. You know that, Mrs. Walmart employee? Because I've been to several fully renovated Walmarts, and no, they all have had a lane open. Well, at least one. Why? Where do you go to get your stuff like cigarettes and beer? Somebody's got to card you. Okay.
Yeah.
You just let the cat out of the bag for the miners.
I know, right?
In Norway, they have started to pop up stores with no stuff of any kind.
Yeah. Oh, I know how they do that. If you ring up the liquor or the cigarettes, it automatically triggers an employee to come over and check it out.
That probably. Here's a good one from Yogi Man. Doctor survey, please rate your hemorrhoids treatment on a scale from 1 to owl. Hey, Spin Vikings and greetings. Hello, Joseph's in here as well. We had to send Cleveland Clinic a yelling email to stop them from bugging me about rating my doctor. Yeah. Is your phone number is mandatory for Gmail? It is not. It is not. I just set up the Google account for Tux Traveler. I did not have to give them an email account. You need to give them a 2-factor authentication. Buy YubiKeys. People, go buy YubiKeys and stop putting in the information they ask you for on the screen. There's a little button that says verify another way.
You know what? Now that you mention it, I got one ancient Google account. There is no phone number attached to it. Yep. Nor have they bothered me for it. You know what they bother me for? Another email address to verify if something happens to my Google email.
In the comments, North Point says that he has always said that do not post anything you would not put on a postcard in your email if you're using a free email service. And that's a fallacy. Using a free email like a Gmail or Hotmail or Yahoo has nothing to do with it. It is an email in itself is like a postcard. So if you want to put something in email that you don't want anyone other than the recipient to read, then you need to set up a GPG or PGP key encryption and exchange keys.
The last time I checked, it is not illegal to not have a phone.
Yep.
It's not?
You can go phoneless.
Yeah, there was a story in one of the big papers in Norway about a woman who has never had a mobile phone, and she doesn't see why she would need one, and she is in her around the 30, I think. So good for her.
I think let's see, we have just 2 minutes left. Okay, I'm kind of getting at the bottom. Banks not accepting cash. I had one of my banks like you can't bring us your rolled change right now, but we're in a change crisis. I know, but we can't accept your change.
Now that's different. My local bank here begged me to roll up my change and bring it in.
Yeah, I got like 40 bucks in change.
They said they needed changes. I asked them, "Do you have a machine that will roll out a whole plastic bag full of change?" And she said, "I'm sorry, but you'll have to roll it." And I'm like, well, I'd go over to Myers and they have a change star over there.
There's a reason for this. There's a reason for this, Dan, because my bank used to have one of those. You just drop your change in and boom. Well, somebody complained that it wasn't as accurate as they thought it was. And so a federal mandate came down forbidding banks to have change counting machines, but grocery stores can.
I'm going to give them rolls of washers.
There you go. All right, guys. I will be on the Christian stream tonight. Let me grab the link for you guys over there. News tomorrow, 9:00 Eastern Standard Time. So today we are talking about the symptoms of waning faith, looking at 2 recent articles, and we'll be talking about that and what those mean. Dan, give us your final words.
This whole Microsoft thing is just, and they're building it into Edge. It makes me wonder what they're going to build into this stuff next. It's just ridiculous. I've never seen something so outreaching at the same time silly. I mean, and as far as cashless society goes, we're almost there. We're getting there pretty quickly. Pretty soon you'll be paying with body parts, foot, toes, arm, kidney.
There you go.
You want a house, you'll cough up a kidney and a leg.
That's right. Salvo, final words.
Yeah, I think that they need to change the name of this thing. Whether or not this is a good idea or not, the name is the worst idea ever. People will conflate this with the archive format.
How about Payday Loan Express?
But that's the next thing that Microsoft will do is payday loans.
Yeah, I mean, Walmart does that, where employees can basically take out payday loans against their paychecks, which is very
and they
sad.
need and I think they need to have if they do decide that no, we are going to keep this in the browser, fine, but disable it by default so that people have to enable it if they want to use it. Then I think most people would be fine with it.
Okay. Faisal is going to light a cigarette because the show was that good. Well, thank you, Faisal. We're glad you enjoyed it. We're going to wrap this one up here for now. Christian stream tonight, 9:00 Eastern Standard Time. That's 1 hour from now. I dropped the link there in the comments. So you can jump on over there if you guys are into that content. And we will see you guys tomorrow for the weekly news roundup.